wrestling podcast you didn't know you needed. After you've listened to us, hop on the socials and join the conversation with us on there. Schoolboy Roll Up on Instagram and Twitter and pretty much anywhere else. Make sure you check us out on MySpace. Things are popping over there, right, Nick?
They opened it back up just for us.
Tom opened it.
You guys need to spread your message.
Yeah,
Tom was MySpace is back.
It's because of us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe noticing, we're down a man this week.
Yes, we are.
No, we may. And yet we'll still talk a lot about triple threat matches, even though this is a regular tag team this week.
See, Nick, you're leading right into where I was thinking, man. I was gonna say we are usually fabulous Freebird in this bitch, but this week it's just me and you. And we're since Greg,
we're gonna get more views on this episode, and then basically just fire Greg.
We're gonna find out who the real Marty Jannetty is of this. Very, very.
There's
quickly.
3 people, and 2 of them are Marty Jannetty.
Yeah. That could be entirely accurate. Let's hope not, though.
What if it's us?
That's what I'm worried about.
What if we're Marty Jannetty?
We could be Marty Jannetty. It's possible. I mean, we're both pretty good-looking dudes, but I would have to say Greg's probably the much better-looking guy.
Yeah, it's also in shape. Ugh, what's time for that?
Come on. What are we? And this isn't a Greg Love Hour, Greg.
Yeah, no. Anyway. Starting off with our first segment, Pod Peeves, where you talk about what peeves you about the pod.
Yes.
And it's just us dumping on Greg.
Just dumping. I mean, he's not here. We have to do it. What else are we supposed to do? Right? But anyway, all kidding aside, Greg is on location, aka he's doing something with his family tonight, so he will not be able to join us, but he will be back next week, and we look forward to having him back.
Yes, sir.
But I guess with that said, we should probably get into some wrestling. Actually, no. Before we get into wrestling, Nick, I want to ask you, because this could lead to a Samoan gyration complaint. How's your bracket doing?
Wow. My ChatGPT bracket in my family pool.
Yeah.
I am tied with my niece for first place.
Oh, man. You are so close to stealing her money.
Yep. And my other niece is in third place, followed by my mother-in-law, then my sister-in-law, then my father-in-law, then my wife. And in last place, the most knowledgeable sports gambler, my brother-in-law. In last place.
That's how it goes, man. That is always how it goes.
Because he tries too hard. My bracket is all chalk, and I picked only upsets in one of the regions, and it's going great. Do I remember what I picked? Not really. No.
Of course.
Have I looked at it since? No, but I get score updates. That's how I know I'm tied for first.
You're tied for first. This year I decided to do something different because I have not won one of these since junior year of high school. It was either junior or senior year. I can't remember. And so I decided to let ESPN choose the games for me, like you said.
Oh, okay, you're a cheater. Okay, how's it feel?
Well, no. Here's what happened though. I let them choose it, and then I went and changed like so many games. So I don't know, like.
Okay, so you could have cheated.
I should,
but you thought you were smarter than cheating.
I would rather win money, so I should have just cheated.
The lesson here is, it's dumb, so you should cheat.
100%. That is 100%.
There you go. That's a little Eddie Guerrero.
There you go. Oh, I like that. We gotta add that one to the list there.
Yeah.
A little Eddie Guerrero shimmy.
I want them to cheat. I just hit him, with the little Latino wiggle.
Steal, baby.
I got the Samoan gyration and the Latino wiggle. I'm gonna have so many. Many racist dances by the end of this podcast.
But they're all amazing.
Yeah, they're good dances. So get away with it.
They're lifting people up, I think.
Yeah,
that's how I like to think about it, at least. Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm out. I picked St. John's, so I'm already done.
But, cool. Yeah, it was fun. I bet you ESPN didn't tell you to do that. So
they did not.
No.
They did not. But anyway, so let's get into some wrestling. Besides the fact of, I mean, we'll get into the whole Cena stuff like that.
We've been leading off with
Yes.
other things to discuss.
There's yes, and one of those important things I think is where CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins are going. And so we had this podcast last Thursday night, and then Friday we were all three of us were really looking forward to what Roman Reigns and Seth and Punk were going to do in the ring when they met up on Friday Night SmackDown. And personally, I thought it sucked. I thought it was horrible. I thought it took all the air out of everything that they had going on with all three guys. I'm tired of the pull away fights. I'm tired of it just didn't hit on any aspect for
me. Yeah, they all got to point at the sign, and so now you know. And then they made the match official, but there's so much to be said.
Right?
Gave us nothing. So yeah, all we got was them pointing at the sign, and there was just no build. There was nothing said, nothing done. Punk was the only one who spoke. You're so hyped to hear him talk. He is the best on the mic. Yep. He alluded to the favor. Cool. Thank you for that. But that's all we got. There's so much history between Roman and Seth. There's so much to be said. And when are they going to do it? Then you got to kind of add on to the segment with Punk on Monday, where he gave us a little more juice, where, he's hinting at maybe that this could lead to him main eventing, which is what he always has wanted. And that's cool. And that would make, someone who's not here very, very correct. Very early.
We don't want, but yes.
He shall not be named.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, especially when it was like, yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to this. At the end of the last episode, I was like, guys, this is it. They're going to have a good SmackDown because it's going to have this segment with these guys. And they just did the wait and see on us. There's not that much time until
there's not that much time. That's what I don't understand here. They don't have a lot of time to build this up, and I feel like there's so much to be bridged. I still don't get why. I know why Seth and Roman hate each other, and I know why Seth and Punk hate each other. I don't get the whole Punk and Roman aspect quite yet, other than the fact that Paul Heyman is his wise man, and
Paul Heyman is just so rotund and beautiful.
Yes, he is.
That the men fight for his attention and love.
They do. How could you not?
Yeah.
He is not the Marty Jannetty.
That Roman and Paul Heyman are so close. The fact that Heyman has any adoration or sympathy for Punk just makes Roman mad. That's enough. That's
sure.
Definitely enough to make the rivalry make sense.
Yes.
I mean, and you get, it's funny. I'm thinking now about them in Survivor Series, the best pay-per-view of the year.
Oh yeah.
In the cage where they had that moment, it's just, it's like, there's no way that was long-term storytelling, but you never know these days.
I feel like Triple H is always has long-term storytelling in mind, which I think I'm going to allude to a little bit later too, with another, maybe two storylines that are going on. But yeah, this Friday night thing just did not hit at all for me. And the crowd was so hot. They were amped. They were amped over, what was that? Italy, I think it was, right? Or was it Italy this past
Monday? No, it was Barcelona for SmackDown, I think. Because it opened with the boy LA Knight, and they were loving him.
Yes.
So it was Barcelona.
That's right. That's Barcelona.
Italy was a Raw.
So. Mr. Rasner taught me to be Barcelona.
Right. Yeah. Nice.
Yes. So yeah, that part didn't hit at all. But then this Monday comes and Punk is out there alone, which I think says a lot. And I think he puts on a much better promo. And like you said, at the end of it, he somewhat alludes to the fact that he thinks that on this contract that he's going to sign this coming Friday, I should say, sorry, that there should be some fine print that states that this should be for maybe a number one's contenders match, where I would hope to see where they go with that is that it goes from night 1 into night 2, but I guess it could also lead to the Raw after WrestleMania.
That would be pretty tight.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
but
Yeah, it wouldn't be, but how many years you're gonna wait for this guy to get the main event or whatever is considered to be the main event?
right. And like we saw last year, he was supposed. I don't know if he was supposed to main event or not. I think we're all led to believe he was.
I
But
mean,
he got hurt.
but what the match we got 10 months later was worthy of being a main event of WrestleMania. So
100%.
So yes, I doubt they made a lot of. If they had any idea of what they were going to do with that match, would it have happened when it was supposed to? I don't think they changed much from what we got.
Right.
10 months later.
Yeah, you just never know if Punk, or I mean anybody really, like you can never count out an injury. So I would like to see him get his shine at some point, and maybe they will main event one of the nights. I'm hoping they do.
Even if you want to do the technicality that night 1 main event counts also, and you made that triple threat match the main event of night 1, it's pretty legit.
It's pretty legit. Like you can't. Nobody could be mad at that.
No, it's all 3 marquee guys. How
Yeah.
It's worth it, and it's the direction we wanted them to go, but it doesn't have the juice right now, and they're running out of time. The build was. It's funny, even though it was like they had to pivot last year, the build was better because they were like, all right, we have to start over. We have to sell this new thing that we just came up with. So we're doing this press conference thing that we've never done before.
That's right.
And it wound up being amazing.
It was. Yeah, that's right. I forgot all about
like they're better when they have to think on their feet.
Right. Yeah. So I guess we'll see. Tomorrow should be good. All 3 guys will be back in the ring together, and I swear to God, though, it just better not end up in another pull-away fight. I'm so
tired. They're doing a little too much of those.
They're doing so many of them. We need to just chill for now. They're so dumb. They're not real. Like just stop.
Right. These people are not superhuman.
Yes.
They are better wrestlers, right? But in the ring, that probably take on several of these security guards, but not 10.
Not 10. And it always has to go the same exact way, where like the guy, they pull them all away, and then the guy somehow jumps through.
Yeah.
Like, just stop. Just don't do it again.
And then they're barely getting in like these shots. But 2 weeks ago or whatever, when I think Seth and Punk had one of these, you would have thought it was the greatest thing ever, the way the crowd was reacting.
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it. They don't get to see him that many times.
That's what it was. They were overseas, right?
They're just they were overseas, so they haven't oversaw it yet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oversaw as in seeing too much.
Seeing too much.
Yeah.
You don't want to see too much. So I guess we'll see.
Still hopeful. Still has plenty of potential, but
yes, completely.
It's
going to be a great match.
Some story, meaty story.
Some meaty story needs to be tacked onto the shore. Just by the way, I want to throw it out there. I saw online somebody who is not a fan of this 3-way match at all is Kevin Nash.
Ooh,
big sexy Kevin Nash.
Dude, yes, we'll talk about like this kind of stuff later, right? With different content.
For sure.
He's like the king of the haters ball.
He is. He really is. And I feel like I love it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't, but I feel like most of the time I love it.
Who can have a more valid opinion than somebody who was, really good at wrestling and just as famous as any of these people at any point in his career. So his opinion is automatically valid, right?
For sure. And he comes across as like he's very smart. Wrestling wise. I don't know about the rest of his life, but he knows what's going on in the biz, as they say. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. So I guess the other major thing that was going on was Cena, which we talked about last week, and he was coming off that, which I think we all thought was
mid
let down mid.
Yeah.
First heel promo. And I thought this week, you texted Greg and I both, because you were able to watch. You love these overseas.
Oh
runs.
yeah, because I don't have to stay up and watch Raw, dude.
And you can watch it live, which is amazing.
Get on the PS5, bro.
Which that's awesome. I do
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, and the crowd was friggin' on fire. That crowd was nuts. And they came out, and like you told us, there was no "let's go Cena, Cena sucks." It was just immediately, F you Cena. And I thought that was amazing. I guess it meant that Cena is doing a good. At least it's believable, I suppose. I don't know. What do you think?
It was better, and I was able to take myself out of the being even remotely critical and just watch it and take it in. And as he's taking this new angle, or adding on to his victim thing from last week and saying, now he's not being the victim. Now he's a bully.
Yeah.
Now he's saying, you can't stop me, and I'm going to ruin everything because you didn't do enough for me. So it's like, for him to do what he did this week, he had to do the thing last week. Otherwise, this week wouldn't have made sense.
Of course.
So now it's like it's better. It was more like, oh, this is good. He's bringing back the spinner belt and being like, yeah, you hated that, and I'm going to make you hate me even more.
Right.
And it's good. He's establishing himself in this. With now, the only thing that you want is the like, what the F is going on with you and The Rock? Yeah. Because that's what they're not giving you now.
Oh, so Uncle Dave's got something to say about that
for himself, and made the heel character more believable by being like, try to just be uber villain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now it's like, well, hold on, you're teamed up with The Rock and you haven't said a word about it. So
you beat down the biggest face of the company in the past 15 years, maybe more, with The Rock and Travis Scott, and nobody has talked about it again. Like,
off of The Rock's signal, like he's the one who told you to do it. He like activated, your mean mug.
Yeah.
and now, not a mention. So
not a mention.
Again, running out of time. It'll be March 31st for Raw. So
I think I saw somewhere that the next appearance for Cena is his last advertised, at least televised appearance before WrestleMania, which
that's wild.
That can't be true.
No, it can't be.
That must be one of Meltzer's nuggets, maybe. I don't know.
I
don't know if it was. I'm blatantly just.
Are those saucy nuggets?
Those are.
Those are saucy nuggets.
Those are some kind of nuggets, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. I can't stand that. But like you said, I feel like there was a lot to unpack from Cena this week.
If you don't want to call the segment Meltzer's Saucy Nuggets, we have a problem.
What are you doing in life?
What are you doing? Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. What are you doing if you don't want this segment where we look at this guy's tweets called Meltzer's Saucy Nuggets?
I'll give it to you. That is good. That is good. And I think we need to consider that heavily. Or just without Greg, make that decision.
Greg's down.
I'm sure he is.
He could come up with something better, but I stand.
He might.
A tier name for if we're going to talk about what that guy's dropping on the
hot nuggets. Appropriate. But just a couple notes. I did take the Cena saying he's here to ruin wrestling and when he said that, he had to make sure that he name dropped Ric Flair. Now, obviously, Ric Flair has the 16-time world champion, and everybody considers that to be the most time champion in wrestling history, which I don't know if that's true or not based on every other indie wrestling thing or whatever, but as far as WWE is concerned, that is
major promotions. Yes, they were across NWA, WCW, WWE,
right.
But those are all the top
right
promotions at the time. So I think it's all It's a very valid statistic.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Do you think since he was name dropped that Ric Flair is part of this at all coming up?
I feel like his last thing in AEW with Sting, he was a disaster.
He was a total disaster. Total disaster, man.
So, like, I'm thinking, like, could this guy even take a move? You know, which would make Cena a super bad guy if he hit an AA on a super senior citizen. Like, but he's Ric Flair, dude.
Right.
It would look. They were the fan service was at an all-time high last year.
It was.
For it to potentially even exceed, I say, why not roll him out there? Even if he doesn't do anything, even if all he did was distract Cena, it would be a worthwhile. Like if he distracted Cena and it led to a false finish, that would be worth it.
That would be amazing. That would be literally amazing. Somehow Ric Flair is defending his title.
Right.
Without
just by being there, even if he doesn't have to go in and take a fall or whatever, which he can't do anymore, I guess. Or
he still claims he wants to have another match, and then like he'll say that stuff, and then the time will come and he'll be like, "Nah, I wasn't actually serious. I think I could do it, but I'm not. I can't. I'm not
gonna." He could, but it would be some weak stuff, I think, based on the recent things that have happened.
It would for sure.
Dude, if he could get it together and just take one move, that would be impactful too.
Yes, for sure. Another part of that segment, which I thought was good, I should say, was the Cody aspect of it again. Cody spoke a little bit more this time than he did the previous time. But the thing that I thought was the coolest is they always have like this Cody Rhodes chant or whatever.
Yeah, only overseas. Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cool.
Yeah, that's a dope chant for sure.
Like that sounds like some sort of like old war chant or something.
They're so much better than us at chants in Europe because of soccer. Like they're just that's why the crowds are better because they care so much more about soccer and football than we do about anything.
And they know how to be in unison because of it. And like whenever the United States crowds are doing it, like it's always like somewhat chunky.
Yeah, it's like a little disjointed. Yeah.
Yes, completely. But yeah, what did you think about Cody this time around?
I mean, he's always got a good one-liner, memorable, quotable. Mm-hmm. Like you got to take it from me first. Like that's a great line.
Mm-hmm.
He's just such the uber babyface that you could see him retaining just because he's out there kissing babies every week.
He is. I will say this. I was growing extremely tired of Cody up until even during the beatdown. I still was like, good. Like, I'm sick of Cody. I'm sick of this. Until last week when he came out with that awesome, like, 2 minutes that he interrupted Cena with. And then this week, too, or I guess this past Friday, where he did it again. I feel like Cody's being built back up again in a really good way. Like he is the ultimate babyface again. And I think that's great because
with a backbone too. Like he's standing up to these guys and you believe he can beat them. So it's on, baby. The main event is solid. The main event is solid.
So solid.
Because they dropped the ball with the way they've built that other triple threat. The main event of night 2 is back to being that storyline. So.
For sure. I'm very impressed with that build so far. And it's mostly hasn't been Cena, which I think is pretty cool. He did turn it up like we said, but I think Cody's been doing some good stuff there. Another poor, I would say, build, which might have turned. I'll see what you think. Is the Jey Uso and Gunther storyline. Mm-hmm. I'm going to let you speak your mind about that before I say anything. What did you think from this Monday?
Well, people thought that Joe Hendry was going to come out and be the secret tag team partner, which would have been sick.
That would have been awesome.
But to see the Usos back, and I did not watch it all during any of their run. I've never seen any. I think it's weird that they do the 3D, and that's somehow 1D. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But
Doesn't make sense.
it was awesome. I was like nostalgic for them, even though I never really saw them do their thing. So that was cool. But then they're using Jimmy in this storyline, and it's automatically better. And they fed into the fact that he looked like a doofus last week and made that part of the storyline. And now it's infinitely more interesting. You got Jimmy with a match against Gunther next week. He smacked him in the face. It's still not great, but it's better than it was than just them fighting every week, which is just so blasé and so just old school, which and would be fine if it wasn't WrestleMania and it wasn't a 6-7 week build.
Right.
You know,
it's been such a long.
But yeah, they did what it's better now. They've established that he is the the most popular underdog of all time, right?
Which I think that's definitely where they went with it. The ultimate underdog. And I think it sucked completely up until this past Monday, which I like the Usos tagging. I still thought it sucked. But then when they made fun of him slipping, right? And that was like legitimately Gunther, like Jimmy Uso had to pump him up and say, that's not you, Us. And Gunther had to make fun of him for slipping. It almost made it seem like there's been a little bit or a lot of it of long-term storytelling going on here, where maybe this was the plan the whole time. I don't know if I can give Triple H this much credit because of how poor I thought it was, but if it's true, and if this has been the plan the whole time, then it has been executed perfectly. Because at the end of Raw, I thought that Jey Uso was like, I was like back on his side, you know?
If you wanted to Uber analyze it, you could go frame by frame on that botched dive. Because I mean, this guy knows what he's doing, and he can make stuff. So I think now that you said that, if you went back and looked at that quote unquote botch, I think you could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, because if he really did screw up, he probably would have landed harder.
You would think.
He's kind of rolled over the ropes, like
right.
These guys know what they're doing. So
Pat McAfee, he as soon as that happened, he said something, and I can't remember what he said, but he pointed it out. So
right, he didn't try and hide it. He acknowledged it. So
they don't always do.
Yeah, that's something they don't usually do either when there's a mistake. Like he kind of he did like a little whoopsie to the crowd.
Right. No, so, my bad.
Yeah. No, and if that was the nuance that this thing needed to get some legs and to don't forget that Jimmy adds to it. He just does. You're getting,
he does.
And he needs a good match at WrestleMania because he had the worst one of the entire 2 nights last year.
Oh God, that match was complete. I feel bad for them because they worked so hard
to make that a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of made up for it when he speared him off of this 10-foot stage through a table.
That was amazing.
And like, that's one of the coolest things that happened in the last 5 minutes of WrestleMania 40, just overshadowed by all the other crazy stuff that happened.
Completely.
But like, what a spot that was.
Where do you think Jey, or I keep calling him Jey, where do you think Jimmy's going at WrestleMania? I don't even know where he...
I feel like they're giving us LA Knight and Fatu for that title.
Yeah, me too.
Because that's a sick match, and either one of them could rightfully win. Mm-hmm. I'd be happy to see Fatu win it, honestly, just because he's had such an ascent. But Jimmy's
gyration is all there.
Yeah, you said it. Jimmy's lost. He's involved with Jay's match, and that's his contribution to WrestleMania this year.
Yeah, I guess he'll be in his corner, and maybe Kaiser. Will Kaiser be in Gunther's corner? Will he have a match?
I don't know. Yeah, they've been keeping the two of them apart.
Yeah, they have.
I wonder if part of this, I mean, there's only a couple weeks, but you could get a tag match between the 4 of them, too.
It's a good point. I would expect to get one. I would assume, but...
Yeah. I don't know if Kaiser's going to be involved in the IC stuff or... Oh, no, we're going there next, I think.
We are. That's a good segue, Nick.
Yeah. The people we believe is a Breaker, Penta, and then Balor and Dominic. And this would be awesome because obviously a 4-way match is cool, but you get to break up the Judgment Day finally via WrestleMania.
That would be great.
You know, we don't need them anymore. It's super ran its course. There's been so much dissension. They've alluded to it 9,000 different times. You got Rhea out. You got Damian out. What are these people even holding on to as a group? You know,
I don't know.
So let this be it. Like, get Dom in this match. Dom was the MVP of the company in 23.
Yep.
Guy was like wrestled every show. And he solidified himself. He deserves to be in that match just as much as anybody.
For sure.
So it would be a worthy thing too, because it would finally break this group up. And then a match would be so good.
Which needs to happen.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and I'm gonna get back to this 4-way thing. I do want to mention, because you mentioned the Judgment Day. On our Mount Rushmore of hated wrestlers, Damian Priest deserved to be on it, and we did not mention him.
Oh,
because I don't know how you feel, but I can't stand that guy.
Oh my God!
I hate the fact that he does the Razor's Edge. Like, I feel like that's such a slap. I'm sure Scott Hall allowed him to do it, but I feel like it's such like a slap in the face because he's such a shitty character. He's one of the worst characters in wrestling.
He was a decent champion, I felt, earlier this year. Really, he was putting on decent matches.
I'm not arguing his like wrestling prowess. Nothing that guy does is exciting to me.
No, I can totally see that he's relatively generic as a character.
Yes.
Which is why, he had some okay feuds, but it was more about the matches when he was the champion. None of the feuds really got too hot. You were like, this guy could probably beat him. So maybe we'll see him drop it. But he gets booked really strong sometimes, man. He's a big dude.
He does.
I felt he improved on the mic when he was the champion because he was getting so much TV time.
Right.
It's weird that he's gonna get to wrestle Drew because Drew's the person other than Punk that we all think should be basically.
Yeah, of course. An amazing year.
It just their match just makes too much sense to not do it.
Yeah.
And the things that have happened between them throughout this year almost makes Drew the good guy between the two of them,
right.
Which is crazy.
Which is so weird. Yep. And that's the funny part too, is that we're talking about these feuds that have no builds.
No. But there's so much in a video package for that one.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Those two guys, they're not even trying to build them, and they're built. And they are completely built on a solidified, we know they hate each other, and we know why, and they don't need to throw it in our face. It's just a solid feud.
Yeah, but people who haven't been keeping up they're gonna put together a video package of this guy taking the title from him at WrestleMania, eliminating him from the Royal Rumble, and there's 2 other things he did this year.
Yeah,
got him out of the Elimination Chamber. This is Drew's bane right now, so he has to defeat him. So, but I can look. I'm not gonna disagree that he seems a little forced on us, but I think I think he's done a good job, so the people in the back like him. And you got to push.
I'm sure he's a very nice guy, and people probably like him a lot. So I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But
he's got some good kicks. You'd be happier if he did one of those kicks as a finisher.
No, I just hate that he does the Razor's Edge. I wish it was somebody cooler. That's all.
But what about Sheamus doing that same move?
At least he's Sheamus. I mean, what am I going to say about Sheamus?
Literally, you said nothing but made a good point.
Okay.
He's Sheamus.
He's Sheamus. What else is there to say?
Absolutely.
Drew probably gets the win there, right?
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back to that 4-way, I think that's a great match. And like you said, I think it definitely breaks up the Judgment Day. I would assume Penta's probably going over in that.
Maybe.
Maybe Braun. Maybe
It would
Braun
make
wins.
sense for anyone except Finn, which is so unfortunate because he's like kind of the biggest established star of the four of them.
Right.
But it makes sense for any one of the other three to win that one.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Look, yeah, because if Penta doesn't win and Dom does, they can feud after Mania, and Braun can. I don't mind Braun dropping just because he can go anywhere
Easily. And
so,
he can fight pretty much anybody.
Yeah, so I feel like he does. He almost. It's funny. He's the youngest guy, but like needs to win the least.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's established by now. I do really like what they've been doing with Penta. They're building the hell out of him, and I feel like the match that eventually comes between him and Rey Mysterio at like a big pay-per-view is probably going to be pretty sick.
Yes.
And I don't know if somehow Dom is involved in that, which I think would be great. I don't know how, but Dom, like you said, was the MVP in 2023, and I think a lot of people don't like Dom. I mean, I'm guessing that from like the crowd reactions, or maybe people are just playing along well. But I don't know how you could hate this guy. He has been so good. He's such a good heel. He's like such like a little shit type guy, and he's really good in the ring. Like he is the full package.
Yes. So not overnight, but it's all there. So why not?
Yeah.
Why not? They were in every segment. They were running every Raw for that whole year.
Yep.
Let's get back to it. Put them in, I'm excited to have Dom win.
That would be awesome. I would be so for that. I'm trying to think. We didn't get much from the women in the three-way match this week.
No, they repeated. They did a repeat.
They did a repeat.
And and Adam Pearce came out and said, they're doing a little bit of another bob and weave on it.
Yeah.
They're saying, hey, it's Rhea and Io again. What's happening this week?
Right.
Let's see it, I guess. But like it's very clear it's going to be like a no contest. She's going to whip them both with the hair or something.
That's definitely what's coming, right?
And then they just go ahead and book it, or who knows? She does some crazy thing where she KODs both of them in double pins, like it's like a double pin.
That would be amazing.
So she's just the worst referee. She appears.
That I could see happening.
That would be pretty heelish, by the way, too. She got booed. Bianca got booed in that segment.
That's a first.
That wouldn't happen in the States, but
that's true.
I don't think
you're probably right about that.
But it's time, man. Yeah. Give her the heat. Let her do it.
Let the light flip switch.
Light flips.
Let the right.
This is the dyslexia moment of the week.
This is sponsored by. Oh man, I don't have my 316 beer this time. We don't have a sponsor this week, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
It was dyslexia. It was
dyslexia readers. All right. So I think then I want to bring up maybe what our new weekly segment is. I think it is. And it's Meltzer's Saucy Nuggets.
Yeah, nice. Sick.
And I think every week, because this guy provides enough ammunition every single week to just tear apart some ridiculous tweet or some like AEW shilling. It happens. Many would say I'm a WWE shill, and that's fine. But this guy is holding Tony Khan's jock at all times.
Ooh.
And so this week, Mr. Meltzer told us that AEW did 663,000, 0.17 in the demo last night. This is Wednesday. This was yesterday. Says it beat everything on cable but NBA and Fox News. And that does not include the max viewership. Much more on the issue.
I can watch AEW on Max?
Apparently.
Oh.
Apparently. Now, what you would have to explain to me is how many people have Max that do not have TNT. Because
I'm one of them.
Are you really?
Yeah, I don't
You
have any
must be
cable.
like a unicorn. I can't imagine that many people have this issue.
Yeah, I have no cable, so I have Max, and I don't have any channels. So,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
So you are exactly what Tony Khan was hoping when he
Yes.
made that deal. Okay.
Except there's no Discovery where I didn't even know that content was on there. So
yeah,
not doing the best job
it's
of getting that piece of information out there.
it's kind of like our podcast. Like
Yeah,
people just don't know that this content's out there. It's
right,
there.
exactly. Yeah.
It's there.
We're on Max, by the way.
We
Yeah, you just did.
That's why nobody's seeing it. So
Best kept secret.
it totally is. So I mean, there was a whole bunch of people who went at Meltzer because he was completely like. There was another tweet where he had mentioned that AEW beat NXT.
Okay, so he said it explicitly. He didn't
Yes.
say by saying what he said that other one.
So NXT's ratings last night were 741,000 people.
And that's a spicy, saucy nug right there.
So that is as saucy as it gets, man.
Yeah.
That's full of sriracha.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this guy's coming up with this stuff.
Right.
Where I don't know. Now
admit it to work.
Admit
it to work.
Admit it to work. Admit it
Why?
to work.
Who cares? I don't get what was anybody. Why do always and only the ratings of those two shows get compared?
I don't know.
They're not even on the same night anymore. Like, and yet we need to compare them. Like, and your top show beating the third wrong show of the other company. Like,
it's not
something we're supposed to talk about.
No.
I love it. I
just don't get
it. That's the best. I should have saw that coming.
Yeah. I love that you didn't. That made your reaction so much better. It's just so silly to me. I don't get what the issue is there, but Uncle Dave hates the WWE. And that's why anytime he says that he has information about the comings and goings of all people, The Rock at WrestleMania, we need to take that saucy nugget
and flip it on its head. Yes. Break it open and see what's inside. Is it white meat or is it processed goo?
It's totally processed goo, man. It totally is every time. Okay, a little, so that's our. I wish I had an advertisement for that. Maybe one day we will, but that is our Dave Meltzer saucy nugget of the week.
Cool. Dig it.
Another thing I wanted to mention before we wrap this up is we did receive one reply.
Love it. Thank you.
This was also from the same person that sent in a question a couple weeks ago. This is from the Guzzler.
Ooh, number one fan. Is he in Ghana by any chance?
He is from Ghana. I forget what the capital city is there, but that is where he resides.
Okay.
And he said that the wrestler deli sandwich that Greg threw at us very quickly the other week was the Johnny Gargano. And this sandwich is comprised of plain ham and cheese on white Wonder Bread, extra dry, no mayo.
Oh my God. Damn.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah. He's on your Mount. Yeah, he's on your Mount Rushmore.
He is.
So that's a good one. That's pretty solid. You would think somebody would be trying to think of the most delectable sandwich, right? But he went the other way.
We went the complete other way. Nobody's coming up with like the Chelsea Green or the Liv Morgan or like some or the CM Punk or whatever.
No,
we're going with
like 10 ingredients and it actually sounds good.
Yes.
But somebody used a plain ham and cheese Johnny Gargano. So
It's accurate though.
Yeah.
It is accurate.
Some good hate.
It's some solid hate, and I appreciate it. That's for sure. So thank you, Kyle, for your wonderful uh, suggestion. So I think we're gonna wrap this up shortly. But Nick, before we do, I think you and I were both interested. I mentioned to you before we started, and we were going to talk about what we were going to talk about on this episode. And I had mentioned to you that I completely nerded out this past Monday. And while I was watching Raw, I took notes because I wanted to have some notes up on the screen for while we were talking. And I'm just curious, like, how his doing this, like, I never did this before, obviously. If I did, like, people would have to, like, check on me and, like,
Be like, you're taking notes on
yeah.
on a TV show?
Yes.
Like, do you have to write a report?
You do. No, I just like wrestling. So
I'm taking notes. I miss it. I haven't been in school in years.
Yeah, I just need to do it. So clearly, doing this podcast, which we have all loved, by the way, just so everybody knows, but it's kind of changed my viewing habits of wrestling. Has this happened to you at all?
Yes, it is. It's interestingly like made me consume it a little different because you don't just watch it. You're watching it and you're thinking about it and you're analyzing it. I don't know if it's better because I love being a passive consumer, but but yeah, while you're watching it, it's hard to just be in the moment. But I found myself doing that during the segment, thinking like, oh, this is better, and I'm enjoying it. Like it was making me feel things while he was saying that stuff. So it's like, oh, this is how I know it's good because I'm trying to analyze it and it's not letting me. It's making me just enjoy it. So that's good. But then you have something like the CM Punk segment on SmackDown where you're like, oh man, like I was on the podcast saying this was going to be heat and I was super excited for it, and now it was bad.
And
so
it
now
was
I'm like
bad.
doubly disappointed because not only was it bad, like I said it was going to be good. Like,
right?
So,
You're wrong.
Yeah,
wrong, man.
Not only is it bad, I'm also wrong. And it's documented. So it's those are. Yeah, I mean, I do also feel like I need to watch it right away too.
Same.
Like, and I don't know why. We're recording it on the same day every week. Like, as long as I watched it before this, I would have the same amount of knowledge. But I feel like it's imperative that I watch it right as soon as possible.
Same.
Yeah,
I think it hits differently when you do. Plus, it's also part of my viewing habits. Like I watch Monday Night Raw on Monday night, and that's why I struggle with the overseas shows because I just can't watch it during the day. Like it does not compute in my head for some. And I know it's great for you, and I think that's awesome. But to me, it's just like I guess I'm very routine based.
Yeah, well, it depends. Yeah. For me, it wasn't part of my routine because I wasn't able to watch Raw until it was on Netflix. I was just watching clips.
This is the new Nick routine now. So now you should watch Raw on Tuesday afternoons at 3:00.
I could, but I'm in the office, so right. I mean, I'd be like, where? Like Nick just left his desk for 2.5 hours. Where'd
he go? Yeah. And also, I guess a little bit to that point, is there anybody else that you enjoy listening to wrestling podcast wise?
Not necessarily podcast, but there are my favorite content creator where it's like if they make a video, I click on it is the Great One. Are you very familiar?
I'm not.
He's from like Latvia or some Slavic country, and he's a super young guy, but he's been making YouTube videos for like a decade. So he's super polished. The editing is all there, and he's just got great opinions, and he's funny.
Okay.
And he does mostly like SmackDown and Raw reviews and stuff, but he'll just talk about random topics also and review his subreddit and things like that because he's got a few 100,000 subscribers.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's just great takes. Someone who's like keyed in, but mostly WWE focused and doesn't go too crazy, but makes fun of the drooling marks, as good as anybody. But yeah, that's my guy, man. He's like, he's somebody that if he's putting anything out, he's got his SmackDown review. Click. I need to see it.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
That's good. I'm gonna
also killer name that somehow he didn't get sued for the Great
One, right? It just fits.
Yeah.
How did he not get sued is the question.
Right.
What are you doing in life if you're not getting sued?
Nothing. Not enough.
Not enough. That's very true. Well, I don't have anybody cool like that, but I will say that I've always listened to 83 Weeks with Eric Bischoff. That's always been one that I listen to every week. I don't listen to many podcasts, to be honest.
No, yeah.
But I do like Conrad Thompson a lot. I think he's awesome at what he does. So yeah, I used to listen to Grilling with JR too all the time back. I don't even know if it's still on. It might still be.
I feel like he's still doing some. I don't know if it's consistent, but he's still making some YouTube content.
It's always cool to hear like the old
right.
stories.
People all kind of pivoted to that in a sense because they realize that people want to hear what they have to say, and it's like, look at us. We're doing it. It's very easy to do. Low barrier.
Easy to do.
So if you know if you have an audience, you might as well do it.
Right. So yeah. All right. Cool. This was fun, Nick. I don't think we get Greg back.
No, he's fired.
But we want him back.
We do because he makes our jobs easier because he talks so much.
He talks so much, and we need that. You and I both need that and want that.
Right.
But I hope you enjoy SmackDown and Raw. I really hope that this Punk, Rollins, and Roman Reigns thing ends with some sort of stipulation involving a number one contender match, and I guess that's probably where we'll be picking up next week again.
Yes. Except we may be talking about 2 versus LA Knight, baby. In which case I'll be gyrating with the glasses on every week until Mania.
That needs to happen one way or another. All right. We'll see you guys all next week. Enjoy.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye.